Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. Go to CarrieLutz.com and sign up for 30 free micro trainings on financial survival.
This show is brought to you by Miles Franklin. They've been selling gold and silver for 22 years, and I'm a customer because when you buy, they ship. For more information, go to milesfranklin.com or call them at 800-822-8080. 1490 WGCH. This is Carrie Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network, and it's time for another Triple Lutz report. Gotten a number of emails over the past couple of days. People have been watching a gentleman and someone I respect, Dr. Marc Faber. He is the proprietor of the Boom, Gloom, and Doom report, or some combination thereof. He's been very spot on in calling all of these financial disasters we've had and that we're going to be having. And he's advising people right now that buying real estate in ultra-depressed markets, such as Florida and Phoenix, Arizona, I didn't hear him mention Las Vegas, he thinks that the bottom is in and they don't have much more to go. And they might be a good buy right now. I can't answer that. What I can say is that during the Great Depression, we had real estate values decline upwards of 80%. And sometimes when you buy things because they're on sale, because you don't think they can go any lower, they wind up going much lower and becoming virtually worthless. Now, the one thing that makes me feel that real estate might not be a bad purchase is that the cost to purchase a home in depressed markets is now substantially cheaper than the cost to rent a home. And that situation is virtually unheard of for the past 40 or 50 years. So one measure that I've heard Chris Waltzek over at Gold Seek Radio use is that a house should cost roughly 3 times the average income of somebody who lives in that area. So if you make $100,000 a year, that's that type of neighborhood, then the cost of the home should be $300,000. In Vegas, in Phoenix, in Miami, in Florida, large portions of it, Sarasota, you see that 3 times income threshold has been dramatically pierced. But you have to look at it this way. For starter homes and for middle-class homes, they might very well be as depressed as they're going to be. For higher-end homes, the mortgage market, it's thin, hard to get loans on those homes. You really have to jump through hoops. You've got to prove income. So those higher-end homes could very well decline further. You have to understand that. But for a home that was $350,000 and is now $100,000, might be a good buy, especially if you can qualify for the FHA program or other federal programs that allow you to put down a very small deposit. The key here is leverage, and the key is putting in as little equity as you possibly can. That part is really important, because if the home is a $200,000 home and you've got to put 20% down, that's $40,000 cash. That's a lot of money to come up with, and that money might very well be wiser invested elsewhere. However, if you only need to come up with a 5% deposit, in other words, it's a $200,000 home, you come up with $10,000, and you're not going to have to pay mortgage the first month, and if you schedule it properly, you won't have to make a payment the second month either. Taxes are going to be a big determinant, but as we know, for the time being, real estate taxes are deductible. So if it's going to cost you less, especially after taxes, substantially less than it would to rent, this could make sense. But the question is, putting that $40,000 into a home or putting it into precious metals, you have to be the judge of that, because the home is not going to appreciate in all likelihood. What could happen is if we have major inflation, you've taken out this government-backed loan, you're going to get to pay it back in dramatically cheaper dollars. Even if we don't have hyperinflation, we're going to have heavy-duty inflation. It's going to lower the value of the money, and it's going to effectively subsidize the cost of that purchase. So from that standpoint, if you don't have enough money to invest elsewhere, housing might very well be the best place for you. The other thing I would advise is if you can find properties where you can realize a positive cash flow, because at the same time that housing prices have come down, rental prices are strong or increasing because many, many people who've lost their homes are now renters. So you take a 4-family home, you live in one portion of it, you rent out the other 3 units. Maybe there is an upside potential where you can add rooms or rent out parking spaces to further up your cash flow. And then if there's heavy inflation, the rents are going to go way, way up. Your mortgage is going to stay the same. It could very well be a sound investment, but you have to decide if you want to become a landlord or not. And in trying times, or in lower income areas, being a landlord is no picnic. There is the option of hiring professional management to take care of the property. That's something you'll have to think about. So when Dr. Marc Faber says they probably hit bottom, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that doesn't mean that real estate in those areas is not a good investment, especially if there's a positive cash flow involved in it, especially if you don't have to put very much money out in the form of a down payment. And if you can get others to invest with you in the property, so you'll minimize your exposure by needing to come up with a down payment, by putting in as little of your own money as you can, then it makes a lot of sense. My own personal opinion is hyperinflation is definitely a possibility, but as Faber said, I know a collapse is coming. I can't tell you when, just like I knew when the NASDAQ broke 5,000 that it was going to crash, but I didn't know the exact day that that crash was going to take place. Housing in most other areas probably should be kept away from. Texas, they never had the run-up. Texas has minimum equity requirements for refinancing, so it never got as crazy as in other places. And there are cities in the country that are growing. Go to North Dakota. In Texas, more people are now involved in the oil industry than ever before. These are places that probably not going to be a bad idea and think about investing in. But you got to temper that with, where can I put the money elsewhere? What kind of return will I get? And am I saving money over renting, especially after taxes? And then, of course, you have to know that your income is going to be stable, that your job is pretty safe, if there's such a thing where there is a safe job today, but that you have enough money put aside in your emergency fund to cover 6 months or so of taxes, insurance, and mortgage payments. If you got that, then it's probably not a terrible time to go looking. But don't feel that you have to buy unless you find exactly the right thing, exactly what you're looking for. Don't compromise, because buyers don't compromise when it's a buyer's market. Remember that. Also, the new blog, financialsurvivalnetwork.com, it's amazing. It's been incredible. The number of people going to the site, the feedback that we're getting, that they're finding so much information in one place that they'd have to spend a lot of time looking for elsewhere. You've got people from all over the world going to this blog. And if you're looking for a place where most of the information that you want on the economy, on gold and silver, on business is in one place, it's a great place to go. I use it for a lot of information that I provide on the show. And check it out, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Sign up for your free financial survival toolkit. A lot of great information there, highly acclaimed. Also, we've got a book coming out in the next month and a half. So if you sign up now, we'll be sending you a free copy of the book, a free ebook, that is. Can't kill me on the postage. Don't forget, weekly free newsletter, recap, my commentary on the markets, a lot of great stuff in it. Thank you so much for listening. It's Kerry Lutz. It's been another Triple Lutz Report, signing off.